You make 1 crore rupees a year. Not revenue, not projections, income. It hits your account in clean, predictable intervals, 8 to 9 lakh rupees a month, depending on how it's structured. You remember the first time it happened? You didn't react immediately. You just stared at the number. For a few seconds, nothing moved. And then something shifted. Not in your bank account, in your identity. You thought, this is it. I've made it. The first few months feel different. You stop checking prices at restaurants. You don't calculate before adding something to cart. You book cabs without comparing apps. Small things, but they feel like freedom. Then the upgrades begin, not all at once, gradually, reasonably. You move out, not because you need to, but because you can. The new place is better location, better furniture, better silence. The rent is 85,000 rupees a month. You tell yourself it's fine. It's less than 10% of my income. It makes sense. You replace your phone not because it's broken, but because it's time. You upgrade your wardrobe, nothing flashy, just appropriate. You don't want to look rich, you want to look like you belong. Then comes the car. You don't rush it. You research, compare, rationalize. You tell yourself, it's not a liability, it's comfort. It saves time. It's a one-time decision. You finance it, 1.2 lakh rupees EMI. It still feels manageable. At this point, your life looks better from the outside, cleaner, sharper, controlled. You're not rich, but you're definitely not struggling. And then something subtle happens. Your baseline shifts. 500 rupees used to feel expensive. Now 5,000 rupees feels normal. 50,000 rupees feels like a considered decision. You don't notice the shift when it happens. You notice it when it's already done. Your expenses don't explode, they expand quietly. This is the part nobody explains. When your income increases, your life doesn't just improve, it reconfigures itself around that income. You enter new rooms, better restaurants, better offices, better people. And in those rooms, 1 crore rupees a year. Isn't impressive, it's normal. Sometimes it's the lower end. You meet people who spend more casually than you earn, talk in numbers that feel abstract, make decisions faster than you can process. You don't feel rich in those rooms. You feel early. So you adjust, not consciously, but consistently. You start saying yes to things you would have declined before, trips, dinners, experiences, because saying no feels like falling behind. This is where the pressure changes form. It's no longer about survival, it's about maintaining position. You're not chasing money anymore, you're chasing continuity. Your fixed costs are now commitments, your lifestyle is now a structure, and structures need to be maintained. You think about your job differently now. Before, losing it meant discomfort. Now, losing it means disruption. You've built a life that requires your income to exist. This is the trade. Nobody forces it. You walk into it, step by step, upgrade by upgrade. At some point, you sit down and run the numbers, honestly. 1 crore rupees a year after tax leaves you with roughly 65 to 70 lakh rupees. You subtract expenses, you subtract EMIs, you subtract lifestyle. What's left is not small, but it's not freedom either. Because freedom isn't about how much you make. It's about how much of your life is not dependent on what you make. And most of your life still is. This is the shift. High income doesn't remove pressure, it redefines it. You now have better problems, more expensive mistakes, higher expectations, and less room to pause. You start thinking differently, Not about spending, but about structure. You ask, what happens if this stops? How long can this run without me? What is actually mine versus rented through income? You realize something uncomfortable. You don't own your lifestyle, you service it. And servicing requires consistency. This is where people split. Some double down, they earn more, upgrade more, scale faster. Others step back. They start questioning everything. Not dramatically, quietly. They delay the next upgrade. They redirect money into assets. They reduce fixed pressure. Not because they can't afford more, but because they understand what more actually costs. Time, attention, dependence.